Now, this is what the MathShed homepage looks like once you are signed in. So it will look, some things will look slightly different, as I'm something called an admin user, and they are just users that have access to the whole school. So I can see all the groups in my school. I can also add and delete pupils and teachers and have access to the subscription. But the rest of the things will all look the same for all teachers. So on this first bit of the homepage are different things that you have got here to do with your avatar, which is up there. Avatars are what the children use to make theirs personalized. So they can earn honeypots from the games to buy things for their avatars. You've also got your details. So should you need to change your email or anything like that, you can do that there as the teacher, and change password, and we'll go through the other things. Now, as this is the MathShed home, there are some features that I won't go through today as they're not included in MathShed. They are included in Spelling Shed. Because I've got a test account, I've got access to all of the different sheds at the moment. So first of all, as an organisational feature, what I would recommend you do first, once you've uploaded your pupils to this, is to organise them into different groups. Now, as the admin user, I can see quite a lot of different groups here. I meant to say as well, as we go on, my colleague Angie is also behind the scenes doing any questions, answering any question and answers. So if you use the Q&A tool at the bottom of your screen, she's there behind the scenes. So as I go through all the different features, if you've got any questions about price or the subscription or anything else, she's there to answer. So if you use the Q&A tool. Right, going back to the groups. So if you'd like to add a group, you simply click Add Group and create your title, your name there, and then it will come up down here. Now, you'll most probably just have your class group and then the other groups that you have made. Now, if I click Details into my group, I can then add any other teachers to my group. So if you've got teaching assistant or job share or anyone else that you want to be able to see the pupils, I can also add the pupils to my group. So if I click here, I can then simply go through, either search their name or click through the different pupils to then add them into the group. So you will then have this central groups page where you can see how all the pupils in this group are getting on in regards to MathShed. Things you can see here, you can see their names. You can also see a different name for some of them underneath. This one is the same. These are their display names. We advise that you keep them different to their real names, as this keeps them anonymous outside of school and is a safeguarding feature. But if you would like to keep it as their first name, you can simply click on there and edit it. If you'd like to filter them by their score or sort them, you can do that by clicking on their shed score there. Now, it's really important that you describe what the shed score is to your pupils, because it's the score, the points that they've earned over the last 7 days. So if today is Wednesday, it will take into account any points that I've earned from today, from last Thursday until today. And then tomorrow, when it becomes Thursday, it won't take into account last Thursdays. It'll be from Friday to Thursday. So it's constantly rolling in a 7-day period. So the scores will go down as well as up, which is why we always say it's quite important that you explain that to pupils, because they don't like that when their score goes down. But what is good about it is it just shows you their current engagement. You can also see their total scores there, which won't go down. And you can also see the activity here. So that shows who's logged on. I logged on and played as this test pupil earlier. And that's a really nice way just to see in the last 7 days who's played what. You can also describe the shed score by viewing this in this way. This will just show their licenses, so what they've got access to. And actions will delete pupils from the group. This won't delete them permanently. It will just take them out of the group. Then you've got another free feature here, which is called rewards. So you can use this on an interactive whiteboard throughout the school day and simply click on a pupil and use this to give them points or honeypots, which again, as I said before, is the currency within MathShed. You can also use them to take them away. So you can use it as a class behavioural tool. You can also create tables. So if you have table points or table groups, you could do that as well. I go to the assignment page, that will show any assignments that have been set for this group. And if I go to the MathShed data, that will show me if they have played enough. It will generate certain competence data for this group. So I'll go through all these different types of games in a moment when we look at assignments. But if I click on one that I've played as members of this group, this will just collate all the data of the children in this group and just show a general trend. So it's not very specific information. I'll go through that a little bit in a moment. But this is good for just showing trends within this group. So that's groups. That's a really good way to organise your pupils and what you can see just on a day-to-day basis. Now, if we go to resources, I'll just go to the home page. You can either get to the resources there, or you can go on this green button here. Now, with MathShed, you have from year reception, stage is the same as year group. So from reception all the way to year 6. And within those, you've got, as I mentioned before, it follows white rows, and you've got all the lessons with all the blocks and all the PowerPoints to go with each lesson. So if I click on year 1, for example, and if we click on the summer term, and you can see all the different blocks within the summer term. We've got a couple of extra things as well as the lessons. We have our quick math slides, which are really great. I'll just download one to show you what they will look like. Really great for sort of early morning work, any sort of mental math skills. And these are a company for each year group. So these are just the year 1 ones. So this is what they look like. There we go. And they've got all the answers as well. So you don't have to worry about that. And pupils can self-mark their work. So you've got week 1, day 1, and then it just goes through like that. So those are the quick math slides, which are quite useful. Also on each year group, go back to our summer term. There we go. We have got, we've also got our recovery curriculum, which I know since the pandemic, lots of us might be needing to use. We also have end of term assessments to go either at the end of the whole term, which we've got here, or within each block. So we have end of block assessments as well. So if I just click in this multiplication in division 1, and if we scroll down, so this is all block 1, we've got our end of block 1 assessment there. I'll show you how to allocate those to pupils in a moment. So if we click in a lesson, within a lesson, you will have 3 different resources pop up. You will have something here which says resources, and this is the PowerPoint that you can use to teach the lesson, and the activity slips that accompany the activities within the PowerPoint that you can print if you wish. So if I download one of these teaching slides so that you can see, and it starts with success criteria. Each one have a starter and a plenary at the end. And then it goes through and demonstrates. We have talking time sections, which is where you as the teacher can explain the skill. And it's got lots and lots of different examples. You can obviously edit these as you want to. You can delete things and edit them, completely up to you. And then we've also got within them the activities, and these are what the activity slips relate to. I'll just show you what our plenaries look like. Here we go. So they all have our character from MathShed, which is Astro B. And usually they have some sort of statement for the children to be able to prove or disprove in some way using either equipment or what they've learned within the lesson. Okay, so the other 2. So those are the resources, what you as the teacher will use to teach the lesson. Question sets are the quizzes that you can set for the pupils to answer that go alongside these lessons. So maybe you want them to complete them in class or as a type of home learning. So if I click on that, I'll just quickly show you what they look like. So with these question sets, there are a few things you can do with these. So you can assign the quiz to pupils, and I'll demonstrate how to do that. You can also generate them as a worksheet for any pupils that for whatever reason don't have access to a digital device. And you could also play it. So if you want to put it on the board and play it as a class, you can do that as well. Up here, You can also favorite these. So you might notice that I've come out of MathShed now and gone on to something called QuizShed. Now, this is totally free and is a quiz making platform that we've created. You have access to this for free to make your own quizzes, should you want to, for any part of the curriculum. You can also duplicate and edit the quizzes that we've made. So if this quiz doesn't quite fit what you need, you can duplicate and edit this. You can also favorite it and save it if you need to for any reason. So if I click play quiz, I'll just quickly show you what that will look like. So if I click start game, you can get the questions to be read out here.
Each base 10 piece is worth 10. There are 6 pieces. How much is this worth? Select an answer below.
You also might notice there is a timer at the top.
50.
Now for these quizzes, I know the time is good to keep some people motivated, but also not so great for others. If I let it run out, now the time is just there as a motivational tool in quizzes. If I let it run out, so if you've got any pupils that would rather that they didn't have the timer, we're looking into turning it off soon. But if you just let it run out, it's not going to take you to the next question, or it's not going to end the game. That's just there as a purely motivational tool. So then if you click, I click through some of these questions. That's what they look like. Okay, so those are the question sets. So next and finally, we have the lessons. Now, these are a new feature that we've created in response to home learning and everything that we as teachers have had to deal with over the last year or so. These lessons are a mixture of teacher-led explanation, as well as some of the questions for children to practice the skill. So what it's got is, on some of them, it's got myself or one of my colleagues, and we've got a mixture of different videos and explanations. Now, these are really good to have as consolidation tasks for children that just need extra practice in a certain skill. You can set them as home learning, or you might want to set them as interventions with an adult working with a small group. So if I click play lesson, I'll just show you what these look like. It comes up as almost a playlist, and the child will have to click play, and it will only let them go through the sections that they have. Now, I clicked on this earlier today, which is why it shows up like this. So if I click play, it will show the success criteria. And it will show
hello everyone, and today
myself.
we're going to learn about how to count in tens. Have a look at the screen in front of you. You can see some groups of different objects here. There are some bowling pins.
So it will go through the starter, and it will be a bit more of a teacher explanation as to what the lesson is and the skill and how to do it. So it's a nice sort of in between. So then if I click next, go back to the lesson, then I'll have the activity 1 explain a video of myself explaining it and what to do.
Crab legs in total. Maybe to help you, you could count all of the legs. Each crab has got 10 legs. We know that already. There are how many crabs? That's right, there are 4. So how many crab legs?
So for each year group, it's tailored to that exact lesson. And then as you see now, I've clicked next. So after I've watched that video, then it will take me to questions that will practice the skill that I've just watched the video on. Again, you can get them to read it out if it's slightly younger children, like these stage 1 questions. So those are the lessons, which are a really great tool to use. And we have those for every year group. If I go back. So that's what we have for each of our lessons and resources. So what the next thing to do, so if you've taught your lesson, for example, you've taught a PowerPoint and you'd like to assign some quizzes or lessons to a pupil, you simply click on assignments here. And assignments are in EdShed how we set work. So you can see I've got some for MathShed. I've also got Spelling Shed, so I've got some for spelling there. Now, to set an assignment, you just simply click create, and there are two types of assignments. For MathShed, we can only create single assignments. So you'll have to click single assignment and then give your assignment a title, and then click when you would like this activity for the children to be available from and until. You can set them in the future if you would like. So I could set it for tomorrow until next Thursday. And then make sure we select MathShed there. Now, there are 3 different types of assignment here. You can see we've got fluency, quiz, or lesson. I'll go for fluency first. Now, fluency are all these sorts of different mental math skills and practices that we like the children to be able to do really quickly. So we've got from number bonds, we've got all sorts of times tables, we've gone the mixed divide and multiply. You can also make it really simple by just doing the single ones. We've also got the powers of 10, which means there's just lots of multiplying and dividing by tens, hundreds, thousands, adding and subtracting. And then we've also got another popular tool, which is the Year 4 times table check simulator. So you can assign that to pupils here as well. And that will just take them through all of the multiplications from 2 to 12 for them to get that quick fire practice in. I'm going to select a number bond one, I think. So we can choose what we want, bonds to 10, and I'll go for mixed. Now here you get something called games required. Now, if you click limit options, this will limit what the pupils can see on MathShed to just being this. So just being this question and what you have set them. They can't click around other parts of MathShed. So if you would like to, you can set them a limit and say until they've played this 3 times, they will then see other parts of MathShed, or you can just simply click it like that for blank for no limit. You can also just do that. They'll still be able to see they've got an assignment because it will show a notification, but they'll also be able to click around other parts of MathShed as well. It's totally up to what suits the pupils in your class. So once you're happy with that, if you click save, and then this is when you have groups, it makes it really easy. So if you have them in table groups or ability groups, for example, and you want to set them the same work, you can simply click your group and click all of the pupils. You can also deselect some if you want to for any reason. There's the option here which says track group. This just means if someone moves out of this maths group, they'll be taken out of my assignment. So it would just save me extra admin of having to take them or edit that assignment. So it's just makes your life a bit easier if you track group and have children moving between groups. If I go to teachers, here you can add other teachers who can also see this assignment. So if you want to use this as homework, and maybe you've got other teaching assistants or other teachers that work within your class that also need to see if children have done their homework, you can just add them here and they'll be able to see the assignment too. So once you're happy with that, just simply click the little cross and it will have saved. Now I had my assignment for setting in the future. It's going to happen tomorrow. So it will be in my pending assignments there. Now the other types of assignments, we'll go single, maths, and then we'll look at quizzes next. So again, select when you want it available from and until, select quiz, and then you need to choose which lesson you want the quiz from, so whichever one it accompanies. So we earlier looked at stage 1, summer term, multiplication and division, and to be able to count in tens. And I can click select there. This is also how you select the end of block assessments. So if I just go into a block, so I went into multiplication and division, the end of block assessment is there. If I just go into the term, so click summer term, the end of term assessment is there. So that's how you access them, and they will come up exactly like the quizzes that we've seen. So if we could select that one. And then again, you can select a number of questions and you can limit the options if you want to. So if I go to that and it's an assessment, so I only want them to do it once, and then click save. Again, select my pupils, whoever that might be. And if you want any other teachers adding. And then that's there. I set that one to appear tomorrow as well. So that's here too. Now the final type of assignment, is if we go to maths, is the lesson. So the video clips that I showed. So when you want this to appear to and from, then we'll click lesson. Now, again, we need to select the lesson that goes with whatever we've taught or whatever skill we want the children to practice. So if we go to stage 1 and summer term, and then multiplication and division, and then our count in tens, here's our lesson here that goes with that. So you can also limit options if you want to for that, and click select. And again, you can go to our pupils and set it for whoever you would like, and add teachers. Okay, so here are all of my assignments. Now I'm going to click on one that I have played as a pupil so you can see what it looks like. So to click on you click details to click on, see some information. And you can see those who have then played your assignment or not, how many times, their status, which is explained down here, how many different points you need to get to the different statuses, the percentage they've got correct, and the speed and what difficulty. So 3 is the hardest, if you're easy, medium, and hard. And you can see the total score. If I click on these, that will sort them by whatever it is that I choose. So we can also see here, if we set it as homework, who's done their homework, how many times they've played it, and how well they've done. These statuses are really motivating for the pupils. The highest status is Royal B status. And you can see how many points you would need to get those. So if I go back to my assignments page, if I need to edit an assignment for any reason, maybe I need to take a child out or in or whatever it is, you simply click. You can delete it there. You click details, click the little pencil icon, and then it will go back to the assignment screen like that. So those are the assignments. I'll show you what this looks like from a pupil's view at the end. We've also got challenges. Now, these are extra motivational tools. You can basically use these as competitions between classes, which are really good. So you can click create new challenge, give it a title, whatever it is. Then go to MathShed. Then you can choose how you want the challenge to be scored, whether you want it through points earned, maybe you just want the pupils to use this as much as possible, so the amount of games played or the amount of correct answers, and then choose the end date. Maybe it'd be good to set one up now until the end of term, for example. Then you choose what you want this challenge to be based on. So do you want this to be based on a certain times tables? Maybe you want to do all of them, depending on the year group. Or number bonds, or maybe it's the year 4 times table simulator that you need. And click next. And you can add your players. Now here, it's really good to do this as a competition between groups, whether it's your maths groups or whether it's between classes. And you want to see how the different classes are getting on. You can also do this between certain individuals as well. So if I click for class 1, 2, and 3 to do, for example, and click create challenge, and then it will pop up here. And you can see how the results are and how they're getting on through there. The other thing we can use are leagues, and you can turn these off for the pupils if you would rather in the settings, or by going to the groups page and unticking leagues there. It depends what's suitable for your school. So here you can see the top maths groups. So it's all of the pupils' shed scores together. And we can also see the top mathstronauts here. So their total scores. This is really good for if you do certificates or anything like that within your schools. Now, this is, again, their shed score. So this is their score over the last 7 days. So if they don't play for a while, they will go down, but that's what makes this a bit more exciting and more competitive. You can also do something called custom leagues, and this just means that you can create your own league to view. So instead of having all the groups in the school or all the children in the school, you can select a certain amount. So if I click create custom league and give it a league, whatever it is, and then click the start date, And the end date, maybe you want it to run through to the whole of the school year and select July. It's completely up to you. And then what you want to target. So whether it's groups in the schools, whether it's certain pupils within a group. You can also add teachers into it to make it a bit more exciting if you'd rather do that. Then we have to have maths selected, and you can either have it as just an open goal, so any points that they've got, or again, like the challenge, you can choose something specific. It's completely up to you. All it does is select specific information. So this will be any total points they have earned if they have done any 2 to 12 multiplications, for example. But I think it's quite good to also keep that open, and you can just select a league of a certain children or a certain class or a certain group and just check how they're getting on. Then you can click preview and I'll give you that there. Now, if you'd like to have some more information on certain pupils in more detail, I did show you the group, the information that's in the groups earlier. So if we go back to the groups and click on details here, and if I click into a certain pupil, so Scary Spice is who I have been playing as, you can see here, you can reset their password if you need to. You can see their username, you can see the different schools that they've got, any assignments they've got. You can give them honeypots, or you can also take them away if you would like. You can see what groups they're in. It's just a nice sort of overview page. If we go to maths data, we can see here a competence grid will be formed. However much, if they have practiced quite a few times on lots of different games, it will start to add up all this data and put it within a graph. So I have played as this pupil on the Year 4 simulator, and I did one today and one yesterday, and you can see over the 2 days, I have got slightly better. So that's quite a good, more detailed way and specific for a certain pupil. It's also really great that you can see these for the different times tables and all the different options that I showed you previously in the number bonds. If I go down a little bit more, we've got the history here of what this pupil has played. If I go on the information, we can see exactly the answers they gave and what level. Now, if I go to quiz data, this will give me any answers of any of the quizzes. So maths data is all of these types of fluency. For the quizzes, including assessments and lessons, that will appear here because that is quiz data. Now, if I click view, you'll be able to see my answers for this quiz and what I have put, and also the history. So these are the quizzes that I have played. So that's a really good way to see a little bit more in depth a certain pupil. If we go home, now that's the largest part of what we get and have with MathShed. Again, as I mentioned before, QuizShed is free and is a really great resource to be able to create quizzes and lessons. You can add your own video clips should you want to. Now, as this is another website with many, many features, I've got a separate video that I can add and send you the link to as I send you the recording of this webinar so that you can go through it. Now, what I'll do now is I'm going to log out and sign in as a pupil. Just before I do that, if you as the teacher, you're logged in and you haven't been on MathShed or you haven't played it, if you click any of these yellow play game buttons, they will take you to what the pupil screen looks like. Now, I haven't got assignments set for me, but it would just, if it's a really good way to click around and get to know it. If you don't have Spelling Shed, you won't be able to see Spelling Shed or Phonics Shed here. But you'll be able to see MathShed and you can have a look what this looks like. You can see what different things, what you can see in leagues, etc. But I'm going to sign in as a pupil now and we'll go through the different assignments that we set. So if I log out, okay, so here I am as the pupil and you can see the assignments I've got set for me and the different challenges I've been set. So if I click view on assignments, we can see here the times table assignment that I can play. So I'll show you what that looks like because I know that that's the Year 4 times table check that lots of people will be interested in. If I click play, one hard. And there we go. So it simply goes, we've got 1 minute to do these. And then we just simply go through as quickly as possible. And that's what it looks like. Now, this is what it looks like if I'm actually within MathShed. I accessed it earlier through going to assignments, but that's what it looks like if I actually click into MathShed itself. It will just show my assignment that I've got for me there. If I go to challenges, this is how we click and play the challenges. So we can see the results, and I can also play on whatever it's been set. Or if it hasn't had anything, there we go. This one's been set for the times table check. Oh no, adding and subtracting. And we can contribute to the challenge between our classes there as well. Now with the leagues, you can turn them off if you would like to, but this is what it would look like. I can see everyone in the groups that I'm in. I can see all the groups in my school. I've got all the groups in the world here. So that's quite exciting if your school ever pops up on here. Oh, if I go to the MathShed, that would help. So here we go. And school. So that's just an extra motivational tool for them to use there. They can also click in the avatar and buy things here with the different, depending on how many honeypots they've got. I need to play a bit more, haven't got many. And there we go.